All right, guys, this is a tutorial lesson on how to use InDesign for your photography portfolio. I'm using three software in particular. We have Adobe InDesign, Photoshop, and Bridge. Okay, and I'll show how you can use all three. Now I'm going to start off with InDesign. Okay, so your assignment, if I go back to my web browser, and you're to create a 24 by 18 inch photo portfolio poster collage. Right? This changed originally from the 24 by 36. It's now half the size due to costs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take that 24, and you guys know the apostrophe means inches, right? Okay, so we're going to go into InDesign and make sure our layout's 24 wide by 18 high. So we're in InDesign, and you should have the dialog box. If you don't, not a big deal. You can always go to File, Make New. I'm going to click on New Document. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to make sure we have. Now, you probably don't have inches here, and you know what? It's probably better if I show you this way. I'm going to press Cancel. I'm going to say close this. Before I start InDesign, sometimes it's hard to change the ruler. So what I'm going to do here is on 1 second. Document setup. I'm just going to play with letter. I'm just show you, just press letter for now, and I'll show you how to change this. New document, just do letter. Okay. If you guys press Command R on your rulers, you can right click on the ruler and pick and choose what type of unit you want to use. In this case, I want you guys to use inches. Okay. So we're going to go File, Document Setup, and we're going to change the width to be 24 and 18. Okay, guys? We're not going to bother bleed. I'll explain that afterwards. And if you have fewer or more options, you can pick and choose. Okay. And you're just going to make this one page. And it doesn't matter if it's facing, it's only one. If you're doing multiple pages, then it's you would consider doing that. But since we're doing one page, okay. So guys, this is your page. The black line around the edge indicates the actual page size. This is the margin. Okay. Now, what we're going to do here is you're going to lay out your 11 photographs. Okay. And I'm just going to show you InDesign. Now, InDesign is a layout and composition software designed mostly for print, but can use for web as well. And I'm going to show you a really cool trick with InDesign. Now, with my rectangle frame tool, okay, it's this one right here, has an X through it. Essentially what I'm doing, guys, I'm going to make a big rectangle. I'm going to go from the magenta line to magenta, like magenta top corner to bottom corner, and make this huge rectangle, okay? Essentially, this is a frame, and you can put an object into it, a graphic, a photograph, etc. Okay? I'm going to show you a really slick way in InDesign how to divide your layout into multiple boxes and make bigger or smaller boxes. Okay? So, what I need you to do is go to Window, Utilities, and click on Scripts. Now, you're going to look for the Make Grid. Now, it could be under the Java or Apple script. It doesn't really matter. But if you go to Samples, and I click on the JavaScript one, click on the Make Grid. When you click on it, this box pops up. Now, you have 11 photographs. I'm going to try something with you guys. So I'm going to make it 5 by 5, And the space in between is going to be up to you. If you want it tighter, make a less point size. If you want a thicker, then make it thicker. Now check this out. I'm going to make them unassigned and just say OK. So InDesign now got that one square and made them into 25. And you're probably thinking, sir, I only need 11. In your layout, if you go back to the website, you're to design it with emphasis on stronger photos. Okay? InDesign has this really cool snap to feature where you might want to say, you know what? I'm going to just take out this one right here and this one right here, grab this one, or if you hold both of them together, and make this 2 boxes for my portraits. I really have a cool panoramic photo, so I'm going to take out these 2 here, delete them, grab this one, and stretch it out so I can fit my panoramic within this rectangle. So I don't know if you guys are seeing this. I'm just kind of deleting some squares, making someone's bigger or smaller. And in your layout, guys, you want to emphasize your best photos and some of your not so good ones. Maybe you had a macro. Well, maybe I'll leave it for that one there. I really had a cool HDR. Well, maybe I emphasize this one right here. And you guys notice it snaps to in place. Okay. So just get a rectangle, break it down, and then you can start placing images inside these areas. Now, you've got to allocate an area for your name, and you're going to specify certain shots with the text over top of the photograph. Okay. So going to Bridge, let me just double check to see. Photos are not downloaded right now, but I'll go to Bridge and just show you other photographs. Let's just go to, and you can insert Photoshop graphics. You can insert PNGs, JPEGs. However, you cannot insert raw files. If you have a raw file, you have to open up in Photoshop and convert it into a JPEG or a PSD and then bring it in. So say I had this collage right here. And say I wanted to bring in this multi-comp as well. What I can do is I can click and drag this over into InDesign. I'm going to wait a second. Just be patient. And then I can bring it into my layout. When you bring multiple files in, you'll see there's a number, and you literally can click on each box and place them in there. Okay. Now you're probably wondering, well, sir, the picture doesn't fit in the frame. Well, if you click on here, you can see that this picture is actually high res and really big. Let me just get rid of this right now. So there's a few options in sizing up your graphics in InDesign. Me personally, I like right-clicking on it, say fitting, and say fit the content, so the content being the photograph, proportionally. It'll try to shrink it in there. So see how this picture doesn't really work well in this? In retrospect, it would look better in this picture here. Okay. And I'll do the same here. I'll right-click, fit content proportionally. Okay. So does it make sense having that photograph there and there? So I'm going to just swap them around. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to paste into. Okay, and that photograph is better suited in that area. Now, you can crop your photograph. You might want to focus more on one portion of it than the other. Okay. In retrospect, maybe. Okay. Now, another way of importing graphics into a square, if you select a square, go File and Place, or Command D, a box will pop up. And I'll go to my desktop. And you can place the image that way as well. Okay. If you notice the shortcuts and you like using shortcuts, you can see the shortcut is right there. Shift, Command, and E. Now, if I zoom in on this area here, you can see that this photograph, me personally, I don't care for the tiles and the top portion. So what I'll do is I'll hold Shift, and please hold Shift so you can get it proportioned. I can enlarge the photograph inside that rectangle. And I'm going to shift it up a bit. And now I don't have to care about the ceiling or the floor. I'm just focusing on the photograph. So yes, you can adjust the framing of it. And the objective now is to make your photos even look better. If you're not happy with one of the pictures in terms of the color quality or the composition, right click on it, edit with, and say, hey, I want to edit this photograph in Photoshop. So now, remember the first 7 you weren't allowed to touch? Now you can. You can adjust them as much as you like and do whatever you like to them. Okay? So, if I go edit with Photoshop, I'll open Photoshop. And say, for example, I wanted to use a brightness and contrast layer or levels layer. Okay, hue, saturation, balance. There's some really cool adjustments you can add. In this situation, I would like to bring in a levels. So I'll click on levels. And what this does, anything below this layer gets affected. So if I were to jack up some of the whites and play with the midtones a bit, voila. So I brightened it up. Now check this out. If I press Command S and save this, you can see it's saving. It takes a little while. It's a high-res Photoshop file. When I go back to InDesign, it'll automatically update that photograph. Did you guys see that? Okay. So I'm going to stop my tutorial for now because it's pretty much that simple. Making a few boxes, making some boxes bigger or smaller, throwing your photographs in there, and you picking and making that decision. All right, this was my best photograph. I'm going to really highlight this. Okay. And making that decision while you're working away. You guys know better what photograph is your best. And put in this beautiful sheet of paper so we can print out and show off to other students in the school. Okay, so that'd be part 1. I'm going to work on my collage and come back with another video showing off what I did.